should be like you, Mel?
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Cherries fans from around the world, wherever you're watching. Welcome to another edition of Cherry Slaps on a Monday night. This time it was against Leeds, and what a showdown we had. I'm really excited to discuss this one, so I'm going to bring on my main panel of hosts tonight. And firstly, it's a face that you all know very well. It's Matt Harrison. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Hello, mate. Yeah, all good. Hope you're all well. Hope everybody watching as well. And yeah, like yourself, very much looking forward to chatting this one. So yeah, happy days.
Excellent. And in addition to Matt, we also have another friendly face that everyone is aware of, Malcolm Chiverton. How are you, Malcolm?
Yeah, hi guys. All good, thanks. Yep, second time today on here. All good fun.
If you want an overtime rate soon.
That's it, yeah. And Sean is also coming on, another face that we all know and love. Sean, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. It was the first time I've actually been to Leeds, so yeah, it'll be good to talk about it.
Nice. Yeah, you went to the game, did you? You went on a coach, or if I remember rightly?
Yeah, certainly aching, but yeah. I still going to try to go to the Newcastle one as well. So, yeah,
nice.
It's not the easiest trips, but yeah.
No, good for you. Well, we'll get your take on everything that you saw, atmosphere, energy, all in just a moment. Before I get into my rundown of things, I just want to quickly go to the comments in the chat. We've got a couple of people early on saying hello. Jamie Keynes, evening Ollie, great result at Leeds this weekend. See you in there as well, Jamie. We'll come to you shortly. Lloyd Trotter, oi, evening Lloyd. Evening Lord Rodney Trotter. Thanks for joining us again. Where are you? I'm at my house in North Wales, as you can see the background here, but everyone else is, I think, Dorset, and Germany, Berlin. Chris Hubble, good evening. How you doing? F. Lazio, what's up? Hello, welcome to the evening. Ethan Burney, how you doing? Evening all. Yeah, fantastic. So, look, I don't want to hold fire too much because I don't know about you guys, but was I on the edge of my seat from the first 5 minutes of that game? Crikey. Dominic Calvert-Lewin came out like a Trojan horse, creating problems from every angle. Thank God for Petrovic, obviously being in goal, making that super early save for the one-on-one. But I think he had 3 shots on target in the first half. And I think 2 of those came in the first 10 minutes. Look, we're going to get everyone's take and opinions on this. In my opinion, I'm going to give... we're not going to go too far into it. I know there's some requests that we do this in order rather than me jumping ahead with all of my excitement and steam. So I want to start really early on, and we'll come to firstly the possession and how Leeds and Bournemouth came out against each other, and then of course the Semenyo free kick. So Matt, firstly, I want to come to you. Where did you watch the game, mate?
Sorry?
Where did you watch the game?
Well, at home.
I didn't know whether you watched it out or went to Leeds or anything like that.
I didn't go up this time. Yeah, no, it's a very and this is, like I said on the social, that's why I was quite cautious with my score prediction, because you know what kind of fortress Elland Road can be, and it's an extremely lively, and I'm sure Sean will say as well, it's an extremely lively venue. The fans really do get behind the home side, so no matter how well or bad Leeds are doing, it's always a tricky place to go, Elland Road. So but yeah, no, that's where I watched it, mate.
Good. Yeah, and I think it was a very, very important point that we took away. Historical, even, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's great to get the first point there. Obviously, I think that was our 7th attempt, I think, up there. But overall, really, when you look at it, I mean, it's our best ever start to a Premier League season, isn't it? You know, 6 games into a Premier League season, and you know, it's our best ever start. So I think that's, you know, the most important thing I think I take from Saturday. And the points tally on the board, I think, is excellent at the minute as well. So I think that's the most important thing to look at from that result.
Yeah, absolutely. Malcolm, I know that you rewatched the game again today.
Yeah.
So you've got probably the freshest look on things. Those first 25 minutes leading up to the Semenyo free kick, what was your take on it?
Really interesting, actually. Obviously, with the starting lineup, 3 changes for the Cherries. That has to be pointed out. So Adley, Christie, and Clivert coming in for Brooks, Tavernier, and Scott. Surprised a little bit. I thought maybe he might make a couple of changes, but who do you leave on the bench? Who do you bring in? I mean, he's got a headache. He's got a massive choice, hasn't he? So, and it'd be really stupid to maybe put half the team on the bench and bring in fresh players because of the way they play, the system he plays. So I think it was a pretty smart move. It wasn't over the top. Let's put it that way. It was players for players, positions for positions. And yeah, my take on it, well, 20 seconds in, and Calvert-Lewin really should have done a bit better. After that, I expected Leeds to sort of really have a go at us, sort of early momentum, but that didn't really materialise until a little bit later on. 12 minutes, we had the yellow card for Jimenez, and I thought, oh dear, I know he can, get stuck in, but I'll take my hat off to him for being able to go through the rest of the game unscathed, which is good. And then the double chance for Calvert-Lewin again. 17 minutes. Sorry, but that header, I know there was no pace on the ball, and he would have to deal with it. But surely, he should have done a little bit better, I think. After that, Leeds, they didn't keep going forward. I thought, possession-wise, we were doing all right in the first half. There was nothing, we couldn't penetrate them really that difficult at the back because they very, very well defended, Leeds did. So a needless free kick they gave away. Foul on Christie. Hilarious, really. What did the commentator said? The player lying down, the draft excluder. He didn't do his job. Maybe he wasn't tall enough. He was placed in the wrong place from the goalkeeper. Who knows? But I mean, kudos for.
It was a belting free kick as well.
Kudos to Semenyo. Yeah, I mean, he hit it with everything. Yeah. And the fact is that, yes, the ball will jump, having the player lying there. So normally you would say, yeah, it's covered, but it obviously wasn't. So it was a bit of a surprise, but great, really good start. So pass it on. I was well impressed.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate that, Malcolm. And obviously, you can tell with a lot of that because first half, I think we came out 59 to 41% possession. So you can tell that although they were getting past us at points, we were dominating the game and orchestrating the game. especially from that first initial scare, I think, with the 1-1 for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Sean, coming over to yourself, obviously you were at the game, weren't you?
Yeah, got the club coach down. Was actually no traffic, or straight down there. We got there quite early. I did search for an away pub, but nothing came up on Google. Apparently, it closed a few years ago, which is annoying. But yeah, walked around on that. Yeah, I thought the stadium itself was, what's the best way to describe it? Rustic. There's a lot of building work going on around it and stuff like that. So it's not the view inside wasn't the best. There's a few posts. It's not the worst in the league. I've been to well, one example, Crystal Palace. That's one of the worst. And I say Leeds was okay, but certainly not the best with views and that. Especially with the Semenyo goal, because while I was sitting, I pretty much had a post literally right in line of where Semenyo was, so made it a bit tricky. But yeah, it's nice to go to different grounds and that. But as for the game, we had the quality and that kind of stuff, but I think the main difference was Leeds done a Bournemouth on us. They had more drive, they would get to the second balls, and well, wait till we go into individual players and that. But some players didn't have that drive and bite. And yeah, said about the Semenyo, when you've got a draft excluder, it doesn't necessarily cover the whole of the goal. No one's that tall if they are 10 yards back and there. So there is a needle point you could get through. And Semenyo's got the power. It just takes a very good accuracy. And that's how good of a shot it was. But yeah, at the end of the day, even if you're going for Europe, you look for a point away, 3 points at home. And we got that. And as I say, Leeds, probably if you had to say one team to win it, Leeds probably edged it. But that's why it was such a good point. And you see where we are on the table. So yeah, it was a good one.
Because of that opinion and in that sense, would you say that that was a similar opinion and feeling for most of the fans that were watching away at Leeds? Because I mean, and I get it. You've travelled all that way, and you know, religiously we haven't won a point at Elland Road. So I imagine you go there with not an overwhelming amount of confidence to take away 3 points. How did the stand feel? How did the atmosphere feel? How did the away fans feel? Were they all kind of that similar mentality?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Leeds fan before the game and that, and yeah, they were fairly confident in that, and obviously the way they've started, so I don't blame them. I thought that would work in our favour, to be honest, that we'd find the gaps, our quality would shine through in that. But yeah, most of the Bournemouth fans was expecting 3 points there. We knew it'd be a hard fought. It wasn't going to be a 5-0 easy win. I think every Bournemouth fan was saying, we expect us to win, but it's going to be a hard fought. And it ended up being a hard fought draw in the end. With the atmosphere and that. For me, it was a bit weird. At times, it was one of the best I've been to. At times, it was nothing. That one section, when they start, well, when the game started, they done their song, whatever it is, and that, and it was one of the best I've heard. And that, and then for the first half or so, I didn't really hear that much noise. A lot of us Bournemouth fans up the top were singing Place Library and stuff like that kind of thing. But when they scored, my God, the scenes on there, they were jumping around, arms flying everywhere. It's absolutely, I say, if they could keep that kind of thing the whole game, that would be the best atmosphere. So I say it was kind of the best and not so good. So yeah, it was a mixture, but it's brilliant.
Interesting point of view, Malcolm. I saw you wanting to get a word in at some point there.
Yeah. Another couple of points. They haven't. Leeds hadn't conceded at home in the league. Okay, they only had 2 games, so no goals conceded prior to the match, and unbeaten in the league since September last year.
22 matches. That is. That's 22 matches.
The last team to beat them was Scott Parker's Burnley last September.
What
They are.
Burnley? Nice.
So, and bearing in mind, it is a fortress, isn't it, Elland Road? So, not everything was in our favour. Bearing in mind also our results at Elland Road. So, yeah, hey ho, just to throw a couple of things in there.
Yeah, I love it, and I really appreciate that, Malcolm. Before I move on to what happened next for the to make it 1-1 in the first half, I want to just bring into the show and say welcome to Daz, Cherry Down Under. Welcome, Daz. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, guys. 2 a.m. here in Perth.
Wow.
Just got to keep my voice down a bit. I've been told if I wake the house, I'm in trouble.
Well, kudos and hats off to you being here, Daz. Appreciate it. We were just coming up to obviously the equaliser from Joe Rodon, 37 minutes from a corner. Give us your thoughts on the first half rundown, Daz.
Yeah, I mean, incredible game. I mean, high tension. Both teams really went for it, which was good to see. It was a total contrast to the week before. So, all I can say is thank goodness old Lewin was off his best, because it was a bit scary. Then 3 chances, really edge of the seat stuff.
Could have made it a completely different story, couldn't it?
Absolutely. It could have been a really bad start to the game, go 2 or 3 down and have to chase it. But I mean, the corner, I was watching it again earlier. I think Traffair initially was marking. I think he had Adley, I think it was, behind him. And he had his back to the ball. He had his eyes on the player facing the opposite way. So if there was anything, I think Traffair, it was only half a yard. He let him step away half a yard, and it was basically a free header. But shame about that. He placed it well. It was a good header. For me,
we've seen it happen a couple of times already. I think with the back line, and these mistakes happen, right? It's going to happen with these new players trying to gel together. These, wondering exactly where their pinpointed position is on the pitch, right? Get that completely, Daz, and appreciate those words. Look, coming on to the second half, I'll leave you in here, Daz, if you're all right with that.
Yeah, of course.
Coming on to the second half, we obviously have, in my opinion, what was a real strong start for Leeds. Corners, there was a ton of pressure. There was attempt to dominate possession, really control the game. And from that, they took the lead with Sean Longstaff with the volley. I think it was at the edge of the corner. Was it outside the box edge or inside the box? Something around the edge. But 54th minute, rebounded off a blocked Brendan Harrison's shot. Now, for a minute, it looked a bit daunting and we looked like we were on the back foot. But I think around the 60th, 65th minute, we started to regain. And I know that there's a particular part in this second half that I've been really excited to talk about, which we'll come to, and I'm going to bring it on to Malcolm when it gets there. 81 minutes plus, Malcolm, is your time to shine here, all right?
Yeah. I know, I hear you.
But before we get to that, Matt, coming out the second half, should we have come out differently? Because I know that, obviously, again, we've gone away at Leeds. Historically, we haven't taken the point. We go into the second half 1-1. How are our heads in that changing room?
Yeah, you would have expected a different side coming out at the second half. Definitely didn't seem ourselves. I would say, probably up until about the 60th, 65th minute. I think maybe the substitutes we made a bit of a difference as well around that time, to be fair. But when we first come out, it did kind of, like you say, look a bit worrying. It did kind of, for me, at that time, I thought, if we concede early, which obviously we did in that second half, we could be in a bit of trouble here. But as soon as we got beyond that sort of 65th minute mark, there seemed to be a lot more belief in the side, I thought. And even when it got to sort of like the last 15 minutes of the game, I was sat there and I said to my dad and my brother, I said, there's an equaliser here. There is an equaliser coming. So, we didn't come out like we normally would, not how you'd expect a Bournemouth side to. But then again, when you do play away from home, sometimes it is difficult to, keep that same momentum up all the time, especially at places like Elland Road, like I say, which, I think is like Malcolm said, a fortress.
But just to touch on what you said, those subs specifically, because I was trying to rack my brains what that changing moment was, and at 60 minutes every single time, don't know why I doubt him or have to think about it, because it's the same time every game. Scott for Christie, Tavernier for Clive, Brooks for Adley, and every time you've got to think of those subs bench. The subs bench, we've just got some incredible legs, and again later on we come to some other subs, but it just that immediately changed the pressure of the game. It changed the control of the game. It changed every way that we looked at it was then orchestrated by us from 65 minutes on. Carry on, Matt, please.
Yeah, no, sorry, yeah. Obviously, the goal that we did concede, obviously, from Longstaff. I thought Longstaff was, I mean, I made quite a lot of notes about Leeds as well, because obviously we were going to have a Leeds channel join us tonight. But in terms of Longstaff, I don't know about what anybody else thinks, but I thought he was quite poor in the first half. But the second half, I thought he was a lot better. But yeah, in terms of the goal, I mean, fair play to him. He hit it sweetly, didn't he? He couldn't have hit it any better. So in terms of that, the only thing the comments I did make on that, when you watch the build up to that, he's completely unmarked for the whole duration of the build up. Not one, and there's a couple of, I think there was at least one player. I can't remember the name of the player. I didn't make note of it, but there was one of our players completely not marking anybody, just in no man's land. And you did have Longstaff just on the edge of the area there, completely unpicked up. So you could possibly say a little bit defensively switched off slightly there. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the finish, you can't take nothing away from him. But yeah, most of my notes on the second half really is about the a bit later on when a certain player comes on. So
even though you weren't about to drop it then.
even though he come on and did what he did, there was also an attempt that he did have, which wasn't a very successful one. Yeah. But we can discuss that a bit later.
I'll be honest. I think that final 10-15 minutes is going to be broken down a hell of a lot. So we're going to come to that in just a moment. I want to hit these comments up before I forget. Nick Gillings, evening, listening whilst doing the washing up. Evening, Nick. Lord Rodney, DCL, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is underrated. I said it in the summer. He was better than Solanke for most of their careers. They both came through at a similar time. Interesting. He also says, I have a bit of a soft spot with Leeds and was telling them if they can get him motivated, they have a decent striker. Yeah, I can agree with that. Darren Hurst commented and then joined. Fantastic effort. Love that. Chris Avell, Bournemouth played well to keep a 2-2 point away. Yeah, we did indeed. When DCL is on, he's on, looks a cut above. The trouble with him is his motivation. He could have been England's number 2 striker, in my opinion. Yeah, he dropped off. He was fantastic at the start. There was some real big buzz about him. But conversation for tomorrow morning's Cherry AM. That is Lord Rodney Trotter. So jump on there and bring that up then. That'd be perfect. Ethan says, lots of our fans left early, so they didn't see the last goal. Interesting.
Why?
If you've gone all that way, I'm not sure why you'd say 5 minutes in the car park. Yeah, that's a strange one.
I didn't notice that, to be honest. Too much focusing on the game.
We will come back to the final 2 comments because I don't want to talk about them yet. Jamie Kane says we're waiting very, very patiently before I go on to everyone else's comment on the chat here. So Jamie Keynes, do come on in. Please do not mention that fantastic sub that's going to be brought on at 80+ minutes. That's going to be Jamie. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Ollie.
Hey, how you doing?
Malcolm and Sean.
Hello, Jamie.
And Darren and Matt.
What did you think of the game, mate?
I thought it was a much better game than last week's. Petrovic, my man of the match, kept us in it.
Nice.
For the first half and the second half, I may add. I thought the substitutions from Areola were good this time round.
Yeah.
And I also think that Kroupi deserves more of a chance.
Yeah. He absolutely does, yeah. And Jamie, and look, again, you join every week, so I appreciate your feedback and opinions. While we have all now mentioned Kroupi, we all know where it's coming to.
I
Sean and Dan,
haven't.
you in a moment, right? Malcolm, El Kroupi, 81 minutes. Here, a heroic cameo. Talk to me. Was it the moment that you've been waiting for so far this season?
Yeah, being very honest, he didn't disappoint. Okay, the return ball from, I think it was Evan Nielsen, won it, which he hit into the ground.
Yeah.
I thought, oh man, I was almost pulling my hair out, but I don't have that much. So, but at that phase of the game, it actually come up on the screen. Possession in the last 10 minutes was 80% for Bournemouth. Over a 10-minute period, and it, like Matt said, a goal was coming. It's just a question of how are they going to open them up or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the way Bournemouth play, isn't it? They just keep going. They never say die, and they showed so much character. After going 2-1 down, I mean, other teams could have folded, but Andoni made the changes, as you said earlier, and then changes again later on. I mean, Ben Gannon-Doak when he came on.
That's right.
Impressive. It was a small cameo, but it caught the eye. There you are.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
When you talk about those two as the subs, right? Ben Gannon-Doak at 75 minutes and El Kroupi at 81 minutes. What a turn of events. El Kroupi comes on. He's got the most shots for Bournemouth in the game in his 10 minutes, which was 3 shots. 2 of them were on target, which again was the highest in the whole game. Just outrageous effort from him. Real heroic cameo. And this is where we'll come to Sean next. Sean, obviously, we've had some comments previously about people like El Kroupi. Talk to me. What was the final judgment on Saturday's game?
Yeah, a couple of things. I wanted to have a little comment about the second Leeds goal, because one thing I noticed before the goal and that, it was Christie and Trevor that tried to get the ball on the line and that. And I think that showed a lot of the game. Going with Christie, he's got his fitness back and that, but to me, he seems to have missed the bite. That was the main thing. His shooting has never been that brilliant, but he seems to be missing that bite. And then Kluivert, he didn't have a single, I think I looked at the stats, he didn't have a single shot on or off target during the game. And who's the other one that changed? I've lost it now. Who was it? Adley. I thought that he had a pretty average game. He didn't stand out at all. And that's why at half time I was saying to the supporters behind me, we need to get Christie off. He's just not getting the bite. Kluivert's doing basically nothing up there. Adley's not really contributing that much at all. As soon as the 3 subs came on, we seemed to have a bit more. It's a little bit messy when they first came on for the first 5 minutes or so. But then after that, they started to get hold of the game, and we started to get a lot more into it. But then when Doak came on and that, when Doak played against Brentford, I said before that he didn't seem to know when to go forward, when to go back, but he'd just come with us. We're used to some players that seems to be stepping in after one day. But yeah, he didn't know whether to go forward or back. In this game, he knew what to do. He knew to attack. He knew when to go back. And it's looked like that little bit of training in the background has really paid off. And that's why I would have him as a starter in there. I think he's good enough to get a chance. And then I think most people that watch this channel, with Ever, he is a good player. And I do want him to do well. But I mean, I've just had a look at the stats on the last 3 games of him. And I think he's had over 3 games, 1 shot on target and 1 off. 2 off and 1 on in the last 3 games. And I know that as long as the team scores, that's fine. But then Cliver comes on, that's like, doesn't have a single shot on or off. But Kroupi comes on, and he's getting 3 shots in there. So I think that if ever keeps up with this not getting shots at least, to me, yes, I love the runs, I love the energy, I love the fight in there. But what point would you call it where, okay, we've got to give Kroupi a start now because we need to get these shots at least? And that's what Andoni always says. He doesn't mind, as long as we get in the shots, he doesn't care about if we get them all in the goal. As long as we're getting the shots, and he's not doing it at the moment.
Yeah, no, you have. Yeah, I appreciate your comments as always, Sean. And there's a ton to unpack there. And I think the first one that really comes to mind is Adley for me. In my opinion, Adley, he won fouls. He was getting challenged and he was going down. He was winning free kicks. He was winning calls. He was involved in the game. He was putting the second challenges in. So for me, that one is the biggest one I have to push back on, because although a presence in the game on the ball is important, I think a presence in the game off the ball is as important. I think Adley was definitely that. Adley was definitely a presence off the ball on Saturday's game.
Yeah, probably best after the 3 changes, but
yeah, I think, and again, I think he was replaced at the right time. I think this is the point of it. Now, the other thing that I'm going to push back on slightly is with El Kroupi. I think Evan Nilsson, things can happen with strikers, especially when they're the most expensive purchase at a club. Firstly, secondly, they then feel, not only in a personal branding way in the eyes of everyone else, that they're being outdone, outgoaled, outpurchased, out-mediaed, by the likes of Semenyo and the Dango Watara purchase. And Evan Nilsson hasn't been in the news once. You have to understand how that could affect strikers as well, in my opinion. And
maybe I have a bit of bias with Ever because of the price tag. I mean, I know that he hadn't played in the Premier League before and all that. I think, for me, 40 million, I don't know, that does come with some weight on it. And if we was a big club that could spend 40, 60, 80 million, not care, and just buy the next thing, then it's fine. But when we're a smaller club, that 40 million comes with an even bigger kind of weight, I guess you could say.
Yeah, hold that thought. Daz, I'm interested to come to you. Give me some thoughts and opinions here on some of the things being said.
Personally, I think there's a lot more to a player than scoring goals.
Agreed.
Yeah.
If you look at Ever on the pitch, his work rate, his getting into positions, he opens play up for passes. And once he's pulled himself wide to take the pass, it's just impossible for him then to grab the ball, dribble around 3 players and put it in the net. But what he does do so well is vision of other players. His little side steps, his little dinks, his little touches with a little off spin to another player. And then straight away, he's heading head down straight towards the goal. So a lot of it is about service. When I did the show yesterday with Malcolm, my description of him is selfless. He does so much for other players, whereas a lot of players in his position would be greedy. They'd want to be the man who scores the goal. There was a point there, I think it was Adley's first shot, where he hit it into the ground. Ever had played him in, and he straight away he sidestepped the defender, and he was on the penalty spot screaming for the ball to come back to him. And you saw his initial reaction when you watch it back. He wanted the ball to his feet so he put it in the net. Unfortunately, Adley stumped one into the ground, and it was an easy save. And you saw the frustration on Ever's face. He almost like, I was here, 1-2, I would have scored. So I'm a great believer that it's not just about the score tally. I do believe Ever will be scoring goals this season. He will prove himself 100%. But like Sean said, sometimes it does take somebody maybe to give him just that little bit of a challenge. You see the Kroupis, you see the Adleys, and it might step him up. He's going to want to fight for his position. And again, he's selfless. That's the way.
Just wanted to add to that. I use Slanky as the easiest kind of comparison in that. Slanky, he had the passing and all that, but he became the £17 million player. And I think it was because he became a bit more. He's quite often helping the team out, going back and all that kind of stuff. What made him into the £70 million player? He was still helping the team out, don't get me wrong, and all that kind of stuff. But he was starting to be more selfish, and that's why he was in the goal position more often. He scored a lot more goals because of that, and he adjusted his position. For you guys, what do you think? Is there what's to make ever from a £40 million player to a £70 million player like Slanky did? What's that missing ingredient? That's what I think is the missing ingredient for me, anyway.
Well, before we answer that, let's come back to that at the end of the show, because I think that's a great question.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, I actually think you're asking the wrong question, which is interesting. So we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
I want to unravel it a little bit, because I think it's been looked at a tad, well, in my opinion, differently. So let's come back to it and unwrap it in a moment.
Okay.
I do want to get Daz, Malcolm, and Matt's opinion on something else that you mentioned, and that was Christie, because that also made a couple of people in the comments, what's our thoughts on Christie and how his performance was on Saturday, chaps?
Go ahead, Matt.
Sorry,
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, sorry, no, something's just come through on the emails. Christie. I don't think it was his best performance in a Bournemouth shirt, personally. But we do know what Christie can do in that midfield. I think myself and Craig said on the Dean Court Social last week when we did the predicted lineup, I actually said that we actually put Scott in alongside Tyler, but we were both actually saying we wouldn't be surprised for this fixture whether we saw Christie come in. I think he come off at the right time, I think. And it was good to see Scott come back on. And I think with Scott, it was Scott really in his determination where we won the free kick for that bit, which Malcolm wants to touch on. There's a lot of competition in midfield at the minute, isn't there? When you look across it, Adams and Christie and Scott, and then when Cook's said to be fit for the Fulham game, but we'll see. It's an excellent range of midfielders that we've got to choose from. And I think, where it wasn't his best game, in a Bournemouth shirt, he did contribute. He did lead. I thought his leadership was very, very good. Obviously, when he had to speak to the referee and things like that, I thought that he was very professional and a good leader. Probably not his best game in a Bournemouth shirt. But then again, at the minute, like we've said, there's so many competitions for places. Things are really hotting up. And even with the likes of, the points that Sean has made on Ever, I do understand that, someone like Kroupi now may be, knocking on that door. But, I think overall, Christie, wasn't, his greatest performance, but he put a shift in. He always puts a shift in, whether he plays well or not. He always gives 110%.
Yeah, agreed. Malcolm, before I go over to the comments, please, I know you're itching to say some bits and bobs.
With Christie, he still needs minutes under his belt, doesn't he, to get really up to 100%. Difficult game for him in the middle. I think he was a bit knackered, to be honest with you, when he went off. He's going to need, to be staged, not play a full 90 minutes, leave him on the bench for the next sort of thing. He needs to maybe go like 60 minutes, then 70, like that, progressive over the coming weeks. Okay, without the international break, obviously. That he's really back to full fitness and, on the button. And by the way, I do like Daz's pajamas. Very cute, isn't he?
Yeah. Daz, any final thoughts on Christie?
Yeah, I think he's still coming back from injury. He's not 100%. I think everyone can see that. But yeah, his dedication, his spirit, his tenacity is still there. I think it's a confidence thing again. When you've been out, when you've been injured, it certainly affects you. It did with Senesi when he got injured and he come back. It took him 2-3 games to get back to his best. And Senesi now, he's fantastic. I do believe a couple more games with Christie and we'll see the best of him again. I really do. He's a tenacious player. He's a little terrier. He runs around that pitch, and again, his vision, his ball that he can play, is great. He's not the great shooter, let's say. He hasn't got the great boots on him to put one in the net. He had a couple of chances there, that rehearsed free kick. A couple of yards lower, and that would have been hitting the crossbar and putting the keeper at test. But yeah, it come good. I've got every faith in him. His class is always half forward, these players.
Yeah. I couldn't echo those things more, to be honest. He's got so much more to come, and you're right. It's exciting watching the last couple of days. He's starting to fall into his own, and it's only going to get better. He's only going to get stronger this season. Completely agree. Just to run through these comments quickly, Lord Rodney Trotter, Kroupi took his goal well. Yeah, really well. It was a nice goal to watch. He's in my FPL but on the bench. Shame. Ethan Ben was so good when he was on one to watch. Yeah, Ben Gannon Doak was also fantastic during that time, for sure. Lord Rodney Trotter agrees, and he was glad that you mentioned Christie, Sean. He says, I like him, but he's one of the leaders, but he needs to go to another level to keep his place. Can't be switched off for games.
Yeah, just missing that bite. That's what he's missing.
Yeah, and again, it could be due to a couple of things at the moment. So let's watch this space on him, hopefully, and hopefully it was just one of those games. We saw at Tottenham as a leader what he can do when he wants to. Absolutely, yeah, agree. Puppy Dog up the chairs. Nick Gillings agrees with Rodney. Chris Hubble up the Cherries. Nick Gillings ever needs the right service, but he doesn't look to create his own chances.
But he's not a greedy player, is he?
He's not a greedy player, and again, this is what I'm going to come back to shortly.
So many comments. I remember these kind of exact same comments coming, exact same thing for Slanky. So
he looked fed up versus Brighton when he wanted to take the penalty, but Semenyo took it instead. Jamie Kane says, how do you guys feel we will approach the game against Fulham on Friday night? That will be a Dean Court social and Thursday morning Cherry AM chat. Jamie Kane's. Chris Hubble, let's hope to get a home win on Friday evening. Yeah, fingers crossed for us to need some more points on the board. That'd be unbelievable. Jamie Kane. That's it, yeah. Petrovic looks more commanding in the box than when we had Kepa, and I like what I've seen of him so far. Yeah, I also agree with this.
Absolutely, spot on.
He kept us in the game.
Dolly Petrovic he's been fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And again, you always talk about the back four and how we've had to have players come in and gel. He is part of that defensive line. He has to work well with them, and he was as new as some of those other players, and he's got 10 people stood in front of him, not just 7. So I think he's done as well as some of these other players that we always mention, the likes of Truffaut, Diakite that have come in, Adley. Yeah, I think Petrovic is up there. We're doing fantastic at the minute. Chris Hubble, let's hope that AFC get a win on Friday night. Yeah, absolutely. They will overtake Southampton's whole points tally from last season. That's a good stat. Love that. People agreeing backwards and forwards. Lord Ronnie Trott's legs look lightweight. Hopefully we see Christie back to his best. However, I want to see Scott and Adams back in midfield for the next game. Can AFC be challenged for Europe for this league this season? That's a conversation for
talk about it.
Yeah. And that would be great to see Europe. Yeah, look, the speculation and conversation can continue. Yeah.
Thank God knows what's going to happen this season with everyone.
Yeah. I want to touch on the Evan Nilsson conversation. Now, from my point of view, sorry, Malcolm, bear with me. From my point of view on them, I don't think there should be a transition currently for Evan Nilsson to become a £70 million player. And I think that comes from, a player like Solanke, as you keep pointing out, absolutely had the chance to become more selfish and to take that leap to try and get noticed by a big six club, right? And he was ready to take that move in his career and his path. He was ready to go. Bournemouth wasn't the place for him. That isn't the plan for Evan Nilsson. It was never the plan for Evan Nilsson to come in at 40 million and it be a stepping stone for 2 years or a season to get the next big buy. That was never the plan here. So I don't think Evan Nilsson is on a mission to increase his overall worth or increase, as someone else put it tonight, he's not selfish. He's not trying to get more goals. He's not trying to get more shots on target. He's not trying to have more possession of the ball. He's just trying to be present in Iraola's plans. And at the moment, that's working. So I think that's all that can be asked of him for now. Malcolm, go on. Please do chime in.
I don't really get where you're coming from, Sean, to be honest with you. It's a knock me for six going on about prices of players. I'm thinking, oh, hang on. He's currently a Bournemouth player. We paid X amount for him. Who's looking to maybe say he's going to be the next player to leave us, and how much can we get for him? As Ollie just said, he's part of this squad, all right, and he's part of the system that Andoni puts in place week in, week out. Now, whether he scores goals or not, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The goals will always come if it's ever Nilsson, Semenyo, Kroupi, or whoever. Goals will always come. They work as a team, as a unit, and they're interchanging all the time on the pitch. So
my question here.
So,
go on, please.
All I was going to say is, why bring up the topic of a price of a player who could possibly be leaving maybe in 1 or 2 seasons to get his price up? I just don't get it. Sorry.
And this is where it's interesting for me and the different opinions, is because if there is someone having this opinion of this player, then there's obviously more people who have this thought process of this player, more fans. There has to be a category, whether that be a minority category or a majority category. And I'm interested to know if there is a group of people that think Evan Nilsson could be on his way out or looked to be replaced if he doesn't start picking it up. Is that the thought process?
Well, I was just going to say, the reason I bring up the money thing is, at the end of the day, we're not a Manchester City and all that kind of stuff that can just buy massive players and that. At the end of the day, we're modelling similar to Brighton and that. We are going to be a buying and selling club. So whatever players we get in, whether it's a development player, whether it's a 40 million player, 20, whatever, we will always be looking for profit. We're too small of a club to not be doing that, where every single player to at least not break even anyway. So, yeah, I'm not saying that they specifically look out for him to become a £70 million player, but a club of our size, any player that comes in, you've got to be looking at making some kind of profit. Otherwise, well, there's certain clubs that have suffered because of it. And hopefully we can do that.
Hold up. What, Daz, I can see you. I can see some cogs moving. Please give me the thought process.
We're never going to lose money with Evan Nilsson. Football is more than profit. The evolution on the 5-year plan that we have,
thank you,
is more important.
Yeah.
It's not about one goal scorer. Leeds, they're all about Lewin. He's basically their number one man. If he don't get the ball, they don't really look like they're going to score. The thing with Bournemouth, there's 4 or 5 players that can score them goals. It's not all on Ever's head to score 20 a season. Like I say, it's selfless layoffs to other players. There's so many players out there who can score goals for Bournemouth. So I'm sorry to disagree, but I don't want any controversy. But it's
It's
not
what the
about
show's
him
all
not
about,
scoring
guys. Don't
goals.
you apologise.
It's not about him showing that he's a $70 million player. We brought a $40 million striker, and to me, he performs as a $40 million striker. Absolutely. If he'd have failed miserably, then yeah, we can all be controversial with him. But again, my glass is always half full. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, agree. Matt, I just want to get, obviously, I haven't heard your thoughts yet on that specific piece, Evan Nilsson.
I mean, when you bring up and you compare him to Solanke, I think they're two. When we first signed Dom, he was a lot younger. He was still developing. He didn't really hit the ground running with us until probably the second championship season, to be fair. I mean, I think he scored, was it 16 goals in the first season after we were relegated, when we missed out in the playoff final there, when we lost to Brentford. I think he scored 16 that season, and I think it was 30 the season after. And then his first season in the Premier League, I think he only managed 7. And then obviously got his big move the following season when he was at 19. You know, he developed over time. Evan Nilsson's in a different place, I think, and I think he's a different type of striker. And like both Mal and Daz has said, you know, he's not going to get you 20 goals a season, I don't think. I think what he does is, you know, creates the room for the others to come in and score goals. And I think that must be, you know, sometimes frustrating for him. You can see sometimes when you watched him during the games, you know, he's a bit frustrated because there's chances, you know, he doesn't get many chances, and there's sometimes he wants a ball put into a specific area and it doesn't go there. And I can see the frustrations from him, but I think what he contributes all round, like Daz has said and Malcolm's touched on, is more important, I think, for the whole team, rather than him bagging 20 goals a season. I mean, if you look at his stats, last season, 31 appearances in the league, 10 goals, and 3 appearances in the cup and 2 goals. So he had 12 goals in total over 34 appearances. Bearing in mind, he did have a short spell out injured. I think he missed about, 7 Premier League games out injured or something like that. Now, if you put those 7 games back in, does he score you a couple of extra Premier League goals? Because you would say 14, 15 goals in your first season would be a decent amount. And I think in 34 appearances last year, 12 goals ain't a bad return for that kind of money. I mean, I'm a big Evan Nilsson fan, and I love what players do off the ball. I love what players do on the ball, but I also love what players do off the ball. And even you look at the Leeds game, there was times when he's come deep back into that midfield to try and win the ball back for the team, a little bit like what Dom used to do. So I think you take Evan Nilsson out of this, you put Kroupi in that position, I think it'd be the same old thing. Kroupi's not going to come in and score 20 goals. It's not going to happen because of how Andoni wants our forward line to play. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, good rundown, Matt. I appreciate you giving your feedback and your thought process on that one for sure. I want to come over to the comments just quickly before we start to close the show down tonight. It's been a fantastic one again with an explosive game. I know that we've got another one coming. The next version of this Cherry Slaps will actually be on Sunday night next weekend and not Monday. So please stay tuned for Sunday nights, just so we don't want to leave it 3 nights before you get your reaction show. So 48 hours max. We're going to do it on the Sunday. Lord Rodney Trotter says it's a difficult one with Evan Nilsson. He's clearly technically a better player than Solanke, but he hasn't quite hit form in front of goal yet. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Jamie Keynes, can I just say, Jamie, you're pulling out some fantastic questions here tonight. They may not all get answered here, but please do come back onto Cherry AMs and start throwing these in the comments of Cherry AM because they're ideal. Says, can Evan Nilsson...
This is a point that actually come up. I mean, pre-season I said, Evan Nilsson for 15 goals. All right. But seeing the way the game, the way the team is now playing, the way everything is set up, I said, he'll get 10. So, and I mean,
in answer to Jamie Keynes' question, can Evan Nilsson improve on his 10 goals scored last season? Do you reckon that's a yes or a no?
Well, he's going to get 10. He's going to equal it. There you are.
He's going to get 10. Okay. Lord Rodney Troyer, everything is always just out of reach. It's a touch too much or too less. Semenyo to get double figures in goals this season, I reckon.
Yeah.
That's
Why
not
not?
that yeah. Well, it'd have to be sold if he's costing points by not scoring enough. It also says you're right to a point. He's way more tactically available than Solanke. Will this be Alex Scott's best season in a Cherries share?
I think
Yes.
it will. I think
Yes.
it will.
He's found his position.
I think it'd be all the players' best season in a Cherry
I
shirt.
think, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. John Bond, great show. Thanks, John. He says you get
Thank
my
you.
vote, boys. Appreciate that, John. That's good. That's nice to hear. Jamie Kane says, who's doing Palace away on the 18th? Jamie, you are just very optimistic. Let's get to the Fulham game this Friday first, my friend, and then we'll start.
One game at a time.
But I love it. I love it, Jamie. Can't disagree with that, Lord Ronnie Trotter. He says tactical availability is so important. And he says with Solanke, he restricted the manager in what he wants to do tactically, but he scored more goals, but he actually cost points. So I have to say you're right on this. Goals not necessarily the be all.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Jamie, Ethan says Jamie, I didn't rate Scott, but last 2 games he's impressed me.
Keep watching, Ethan.
Yeah, keep watching, Ethan. And end all with Evan Nilsson. Yeah. Look, I think overall, just before we close off, as I do every single reaction show, I do want to know who everyone's standout player was. So, Matt, if you could let me know who your standout player was this week against Leeds.
My standout player. You know what? I'm going to give a big shout out, I think, for Brooksy, because when Brooksy come on, I thought he was good. Yeah, for me, I think Brooksy. Do you know what? The substitutes for me, you know, all of the substitutes, I think, made a real impact. Like I say, Scott come on, looked good. He was determined. He fought. Brooksy, again, added that bit of flair. And obviously, well, Kroupi, well, you know, he did what he did, didn't he? And, you know, fair play to him. So, yeah, to pick one, would I say Brooksy? Or would I say Brooksy? Do you know what? I mean, I've got some notes here. Gannon Doak. I've got Gannon Doak highlighted on my notes.
We swapped that up. Yeah, nice. Okay, fair.
Yeah, so Gannon Doak I've highlighted for his impact in a short space of time. Now, let's go with Gannon Doak then. Now, for me, I don't think Gannon Doak's going to start much for us this season. I can't personally see it. I think he's in a development phase. He's still early in his career. I think he's come to the right club, like I've said time and time again, to push himself on. This could be a player that potentially a few years down the line may develop and we may make money on. But obviously, not touching on any of that, the here and now, he's going to make a lot of impact off the bench for us, I think, this season. And like he does for Scotland, I think Steve Clarke uses him exactly in that way. When things need livening up a bit, he throws him on. I think it was, I think we discussed it on Cherry AM recently. I think it was it Belarus they played? He come on, he was absolutely phenomenal for 15 minutes. Yeah. And I think if that's what we're going to get from Ben Doak this season, then I'm more than happy with that. So, yeah, let's be a bit different. Let's go with Ben Doak.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Obviously, everyone in the comments, please do also give your thoughts on this too. Malcolm, standout player of the match.
All right. Well, I've gone a man of the match from one from each team. All right.
Okay.
Because obviously, you know, thinking we would have some Leeds fans on here as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for Leeds, I've gone for Sean Longstaff.
Yep.
He had a really, really solid game. You know, yeah, thoroughly deserved it. And somebody who hasn't even had a mention this evening, from the Cherries' point of view, my man of the match for the Cherries is Marcus Senesi.
Yeah,
That's been mentioned him earlier. He did have a mention earlier. Yeah,
he has been mentioned, didn't he? But again, that's great.
Did I missed something somewhere.
That's great.
It was only a very brief mention. Go on, Matt.
Again, his defensively looked good. Obviously, he set up the goal. Let's be honest. I mean, obviously,
good assist. Yeah.
knew where the danger men were, and he put the ball exactly to them. Defensively, like I say, looked solid, but the pass that we spoke about, obviously Evan Nilsson putting the ball, flicking the ball into the path of Kroupi, obviously when he hit the shot into the ground. When you look back at that, it's another fantastic pass from Senesi. And that's just such a real strength of his. I mean, he did it at Tottenham. He does it all the time. I think he's quite underrated for his ball ability at times, Senesi, to be fair. So no, I'm glad you picked that one out, Malcolm, because I think you're spot on there.
Another point, going back to this this equaliser from who was it who scored it? I saw Kroupi, wasn't it? Now we got a free kick, and Leeds, they went right against the grain. They did something that you should never ever do in football. They made a substitution before set play. Should never do it.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
All right, but they did. So did that play into our hands? I don't know. But just a train of thought. It's just one of the very basics in football, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely. And it's just the things of the ways of how stress and pressure of a game that late on into 90 minutes can really get to you and make you fumble the basics and fundamentals, mate, of football.
Yeah.
Sean, standout player.
Malcolm beats me to it. I was actually, I wanted to go for Kroupi or Doak, but that's more the best impact player. But I went for Senesi as the best overall player as well. I mean, I've got him on my notes. Senesi, the best player, 7 clearances, 2 block shots. He's everywhere, getting the assists. So, yeah, I say he's a little bit shaky when he started, especially the pre-season, but he's completely found his old self back now, and there's a possible argument to say that he might be starting to look better than last season. Still a long way to go, but there's an argument to say he is starting to possibly look better. I don't know if you guys agree with that at all or not.
Not an argument.
I'd go as far as saying that he is growing as the club is growing. He is growing as efficiently as the club is growing. He seems to be following us in every step of every development, of every focus session, of every team plan, every squad moving forward. It looks like Senesi is part of the 5-year plan, in my opinion. It looks like he's getting better as the club gets better, as our senior leadership get better, as our stadium gets better, academy gets better. He's just another one of these things that's falling in line with this Bill Foley plan. And I love to see it. Daz, stand up, man.
You could throw 3 or 4 into the cup. I mean, Adley is off his work rate, is off the ball pressure, closing down, and that's what Bournemouth's about. Closing them down in the final third, winning the ball back. You can't score goals from your own defence. You've got to close down, put the pressure in the top third, win the ball to create the chances. Adley, I thought, was pretty good. Put in a good shift. True fair. In a moment, he's standout. He's Kirkes times steroids. He is a quality player. I don't think he's made a mistake yet. He's coming on really well. His crosses are pinpoint. They're really good. He puts the delivery in for the likes of Evan Nilsson then to reach out and score. But standout player for me, without a date, I think it was Petrovic. I think he had an outstanding game. He absolutely he stopped 2 or 3 that could have easily gone in and the game would have swung the other way. He's dominating that box. When he shouted for the ball and he'd come out and he'd get it. So just a little bit of fine tuning with his Exocet missile right boot. He can launch that ball up the pitch on a quick attack. But he to me was definitely man of the match for me.
Yeah, Daz, I'm glad you said it because that's exactly my thought process, and you stole it right out of my mouth. Petrovic, I think without him so far, we would have been in dire straits. I think there's certain players on the pitch that can absolutely perform, or have expectancies to perform, or have expectancies to gel here, there, and everywhere. But Dori Petrovic has saved us from losing games on probably 4+ occasions now already. Unbelievable. Go on, please continue. Yeah.
we mentioned, that Christie wasn't on form and other players there that, just didn't quite shine. The thing with a keeper, if you don't shine, the goals, he's picking it out the net.
Yep.
So he has to be consistent week in, week out. And so far, I'm extremely happy that he's in between them sticks.
Yeah, echo those words entirely, Daz. Look, guys, I'm going to wrap up because I feel like I've taken a lot of your evening tonight and I really appreciate it. Go on, Matt, go ahead.
Well, just one thing, just before we go, just to remind everybody, Up the Cherries in all departments has been nominated for the Best Club Content Creator for the Premier League. To vote, visit the link on screen. We thank you in advance for your support, and up the Cherries.
Yes.
Back over to you.
Yeah, fantastic. Again, I'm going to continue to scream and shout about these football content awards because what a bloody achievement. And it's only kudos to everyone behind the scenes, really, really working hard to make sure that things get done on time and consistency and everything else. Sean, you wanted to say something?
Just want a quick shout out with the ladies, any opportunity I get, that the next game is obviously Sunday, 2:00 kickoff at Ringwood. People come along to it. It's free to go, and we will be playing Lewis in the league.
Boom. There you go. Appreciate that. For everyone joining, it really is a pleasure to be able to get to do these shows on a Monday night. So everyone coming on to chat, Daz, really, really welcome you for the first time. Sean, first time on the Cherry Slaps. Malcolm and Matt, always faces that join me. So I really appreciate all of you guys, everyone in the chat. Please do go and vote and have a fantastic rest of your Monday or good start to your Tuesday, Daz. Up the Cherries.
See you tomorrow.
Cheers. Thanks.
TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.